It's Curie here to tell you all about KDL Summer Wonder Program. It's a fun way to stay reading and learning all summer long. Our 30-day challenge is free and open to all ages. Summer Wonder kicks off on June 1 and runs through August 7. Summer goes fast. Don't miss out on all the fun. And remember, stay curious.
Hello, friends, and welcome to KDL's Grow with the STEM Greenhouse. In this program, you're going to do different STEM activities. There's fun and hands-on experiments that you can do from home. Hosting them is our friend from STEM Greenhouse. She's actually the person that created it. Her name is Dr. Keli Christopher, and a fun fact about her is that she has her PhD in agriculture engineering from the University of Illinois, and she's the first Black person to have that degree from that university and the third Black woman in the whole wide world to have that degree. So join her for some different activities. We're going to be featuring 7 activities this summer for you to do at home. If you need the instructions and you want to print them out so you know what you need to do, and you have some written instructions to follow along, you can access those through our website. If you go to www.kdl.org/KDL-lab, you'll find the instructions there in some of our blog posts. So get excited and get ready to learn about some more STEM things. I'm going to pass it on over to Dr. Keli. Have fun!
Hi, STEM scholars. I'm Dr. Keli Christopher, and I'm so excited to talk to you today about chemical reactions, but also I'm excited because we get to create our very own bath bombs. Now, first I want to give you an example of the chemistry that goes behind bath bombs. A chemical reaction is basically when different substances are combined and then they create, or their atoms rearrange to create completely different substances. So, today, we're going to work with a couple of substances to show you a quick chemical reaction. For this first experiment, you're going to need baking soda. You're also going to need citric acid. Citric acid can be bought at the grocery store or any place that sells canning supplies. People who make jams and jellies might use citric acid to preserve their creations, or let's just say you have vegetables that you want to harvest, they might use citric acid in canning. But if you have ever peeled an orange or then rubbed your eye or squirted lemon juice in your eye, you would notice that your eye starts to sting. Citric acids are made from citrus fruits, and so just so we don't sting our eyes, I'm going to put on some safety glasses as well. For this activity, you'll also need a small baggie, teaspoon measure and a 1/4 cup measure, and just some water from your sink. What we're going to do, open up our baggie. You might even get someone to help you with this because it can be a little bit difficult holding everything. We're going to take a teaspoon of baking soda, and then a teaspoon of the citric acid, and I'm trying to get just the right amount. Now this is the part that is very time sensitive. Once you're ready to add your liquids, you're going to have to close the baggie right away. So either just be prepared to close it right away or have someone else hold the baggie for you so you can add the water and then seal the baggie. So first I'm going to just fill up my 1/4 cup measure. All right. Let me just move that. And then just quickly you're going to add the water, and you'll see a chemical reaction starting to take place. Now in this case, we took baking soda and citric acid, and then they combined. Now one of the products of this particular chemical reaction is carbon dioxide. When we breathe in, we need oxygen to live, but when we breathe out carbon dioxide. That's what's in this baggie. So in this particular chemical reaction, carbon dioxide is formed. However, carbon dioxide is a gas. So we took two solids and a liquid, but we created a gas. We started with baking soda and citric acid. The chemical name for baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. The molecular formula for citric acid is C6H8O7. When combined with water, or H2O, all of the molecules rearrange, and the product is water, carbon dioxide, and sodium citrate. This is an example of a chemical reaction. Now I want you to feel the baggie. You might notice that it's gotten cold. Well, what happened here? That's because this is an example of an endothermic reaction. Thermic, of course, meaning heat. Endo, meaning in or absorb. So this particular chemical reaction absorbs heat and the water turns cold. So now we're ready to make our bath bombs. These are the supplies that you're going to need to make your bath bombs. First, you're going to need baking soda, citric acid, Epsom salts, cornstarch, vegetable oil. You'll need a little water. You'll need some fragrance, food coloring, spoons. I have a fork here. You'll need a couple of droppers. You'll also need some sort of mold to make your bath bombs, to form your bath bombs. I have some bath bomb molds that I'm going to use today, but you don't have to have a mold. You can make your own mold. Like this could be a mold. This came from a little diced peaches or something. But the important thing is that the container is a little bit flexible so that you can pop the bath bomb out after they're dry. Or you could use something like an ice tray, but of course, one of the flexible ice trays, so again, that you can pop your bath bomb out at the end. You'll also need a couple of bowls, measuring spoons, and measuring cups. First, we're gonna start with our dry ingredients. We're gonna start with our baking soda, and we're gonna need 6 tablespoons of baking soda. When you look at your measuring spoon, a tablespoon usually is the abbreviation capital TBS. So you're gonna need 6 tablespoons of baking soda for this. And it's very important that you get a level scoop. That just means that whatever ingredient that you're adding is flat against the top of the measuring spoon. You could even use a knife to get off any excess. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of citric acid. Oh, I have to do this a little differently, but be careful. 1, 2. Next, we're going to add 4.5 tablespoons of our cornstarch. So you're going to need 2 types of spoons. You're going to use 4 tablespoons and 1/2 tablespoon. 1/2, you'll look for the 1/2 measure on the spoon. So let's start with the 4 tablespoons. And the last dry ingredient that you'll need are Epsom salts. I'm going to start with the larger tablespoon and then the 1/2 tablespoon. And then we're just going to stir this up. Now I'm going to set that aside and we're going to get our wet ingredients. So these are our wet ingredients. First, we're going to take 2 1/4 teaspoons of water. So I've got my water here. That's 2. You don't need a very big bowl for the liquid ingredients because all of them are pretty small measurements. For the teaspoon, the abbreviation for teaspoon is lowercase t, s, p. So be sure to make sure you're using the right type of measurement for the teaspoons. Next, we're going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is kind of hard to measure out of the big container. So I put a little bit in a bowl just to help measure. So we're going to need 2 1/4 teaspoons of vegetable oil. Now you're going to have to select a fragrance for your bath bomb. I'm choosing oatmeal milk and honey. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of my fragrance oil. And finally, you're going to have to pick a color for your bath bomb. Since my fragrance is oatmeal milk and honey, I'm going to use yellow. I feel like that'll be appropriate for this fragrance, but you know, you can choose anything you want. You want to add about 5 drops of food coloring, okay? Now, of course, you don't have to add any color if you don't want to. And then you're going to stir this. Now, you might remember we've talked about density, and water and oil do not have the same density. So you will notice that these will separate, but that's okay. Just stir it up again as you're doing this activity. So these are all my wet ingredients. All right, so now we have to combine the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients. But this actually is a pretty long process because we have to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients very carefully. And it's also important that we don't add too much liquid, because if you add too much liquid, you're going to have too much of a reaction, and we want to make sure we just have a small reaction each time, and we're able to create a bath bomb that has the right consistency so that we can put it in our molds. If it's too wet, they won't go in the molds. If it's too dry, they'll crumble. So let's show you how this first drop of our liquid goes, and be sure to fill your dropper up all the way. You can see a chemical reaction starting to take place when we add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, but we actually do not want to see that. So as soon as the reaction starts taking place, you're going to take a spoon and you're going to smash down the liquid ingredients. And you're going to do this over and over again. You're going to add 1 dropper full, and notice I didn't say 1 drop, but 1 dropper full of liquids. And then as soon as the reaction starts taking place, you're going to mash down. Now this is going to take some time. All right, this is almost ready. You'll know that it's ready because when you pinch it, it'll stay in like a little ball. But if it just breaks apart, it's too dry. But it's very important that you don't add too much liquid, so don't be impatient with this activity. Take your time and wait until the consistency is just right. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your mold and you're going to put a little bit of vegetable oil in the mold. It's kind of like when you're baking a cake and you might grease the pan before you put your cake batter in there. You're going to put this oil in the mold before you put in your bath bomb mixture, just to make sure it's easy to pop the bath bomb out of the mold. So I'm going to take a mold and you just start scooping the bath bomb mixture into the mold and pressing down as you shape it. This recipe makes enough for probably about 2 of this size mold, but depending on the container, it might, you might have enough for a little bit more. Also, if you don't have enough liquid as you're doing this activity and your mixture is too dry, simply add a little bit more water and vegetable oil to the dry mixture until it's the right consistency. Once your molds are filled, you're going to have to let them dry, and it's going to take overnight. So I prepped one last night, and I have the mold here with the bath bomb in it. So I'm just going to get it out of there. Ooh, it's a little bit, it can be a little tricky. Try not to break it though. There we go. And I made a couple others the other night too. So I've got my bath bombs, and then I had a little bit extra left over again, so I made some little bitty bath bombs with those. So now I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you take your bath and you put one of your bath bombs in the water. And I've just got a little bowl of water here to demonstrate. I'm just going to take one of my little bath bombs and I'm going to just put it in the water. And you can see it's starting to fizz a little bit. And the cool thing, in addition to this chemical reaction, you've got the Epsom salts in there, and that helps with muscles and your sore muscles. The fragrance smells really good, so you should be able to have a really relaxing bath. Well, that's all for today. I hope you learned something and I hope you had fun. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.